Stitch this with a fact so ridiculous you didn't believe it until you looked it up yourself.
That the concept of eating 3 meals a day has nothing to do with nutrition and everything to do with racism. The Englanders considered 3 square meals a day to be a sign of prosperity. So when they came to America, the Native Americans, the indigenous people, they did the healthy thing. They ate when they were hungry. But that was considered savage and low class. So the colonizers colonized, and they forced the Native Americans to eat on their schedule. And so began the long-standing tradition of American obesity.
Okay, maybe everyone but me knew this, but I just learned from the book I'm reading, I'll put it right here, that the 3 meals a day thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is from colonialism and white supremacy. That when the European colonizers came and saw the indigenous people eating when they were hungry, they were like, they're savages, they are uncivilized. Because the white Europeans differentiated themselves from animals who would graze for their food when they were hungry by setting distinct meal times that correlated with time of day. And so that is why we eat 3 meals a day instead of just eating when we're hungry. Because the colonizers thought that that resembled animals too much.
Yep, trust me, we know. We know to only eat when the sun is right in the middle because we understand the natural rhythm of things. The problem is certain people think they are civilized and the indigenous people, but we've been knowing to only eat once a day and to actually only eat not out of addiction, but when you feel the energy to recharge. That's when we eat. We've been knowing. So decolonize. Decolonize your mind.
That the 3 meals a day thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is from colonialism.
I've been waiting for this day continuously. If you don't know me, please go check out my page. I talk a lot about diet culture and its roots in white supremacy, racism, and just whiteness in the food system as a whole. And this person really articulated it well. And also, thank you for sharing this book. What is so amazing about that book and also what's being discussed in that video is it really articulates how whiteness has infiltrated the way that we view and address our hunger cues, because we are trying to adhere to very strict schedules that our bodies didn't, they were not created to immediately adhere to. Like, you don't come out the womb being like, I will only eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Society tells you only eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And like, think about how many times people don't eat after dinner, even though they're still hungry, because it's like, well, I can't eat after dinner. That'd be bad. Check out some more of my videos on this. Okay, bye.
Wow. I did not know this, but it makes so much sense. I used to be a chubby bunny when I was a kid because I would miss these arbitrary eating times, but also I would use food as an avoidance tactic to avoid stuff that I didn't want to do. Like, I can't do homework right now, Mom, I'm eating. And I thought I had outgrown this vicious cycle because obviously I'm not in school anymore. But I recently became unemployed and I saw a friend and she told me, you lost weight. And it's precisely because of this, I'm back to grazing. I'm not forcing myself to eat really fast in 30 minutes before I have to go back to deadlines and meetings. And I am not having to do stuff that I don't want to do. So I'm not arbitrarily eating snacks and drinking my little drinks every day. I genuinely am eating only when I'm hungry. And it's crazy how a little thing such as eating 3 meals a day can actually put you so out of touch with your body. And it actually is not in your best interest. Okay, maybe everyone but me knew this, but I just learned from the book I'm reading, I'll put it right here, that the 3 meals a day thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is from colonialism and white supremacy. That when the European colonizers came and saw the indigenous people eating when they were hungry, they were like, they're savages, they are uncivilized. Because the white Europeans differentiated themselves from animals who would graze for their food when they were hungry by setting distinct meal times that correlated with time of day. And so that is why we eat 3 meals a day instead of just eating when we're hungry. Because the colonizers thought that that resembled animals too much.
Y'all know what I always say, origins always matter. And we're going to talk about the fact that colonialism didn't affect just the way we eat and the 3 square meals a day, but also that colonialism created so much damage to the agriculture of the places that they colonized that it still affects those economies and that agriculture to this day. Let's get started. Now, you know, we can't talk about colonialism without including the British Empire. So in 1922, the British Empire went to Nigeria and created what was called the Institute of Agricultural Research, but they wasn't doing no research. But that was its new revamped, new and improved name. Its real name started in 1905 and it was called the British Cotton Growing Association. Like all colonial institutions, it's a tricky past. On one end, they did help push agricultural production and research, but on the other end, and the end that matters, it was colonialism, and they were exploiting the land and the people. And cotton wasn't just grown in the American South and in the Caribbean. Globally, colonizers actively encouraged and often forced the growth of plants to favor the colonizers' needs. Cotton was important not just for clothing civilians, but also for the production of uniforms for soldiers fighting in World War II. Empire definitely was a menace to society. They also went to India, where they colonized and tried to introduce American-style cotton plantations, and that failed miserably, but they ended up being able to harvest tea there. By doing this, they negatively impacted India's economy forever. They also impacted the trading systems, the farming techniques, the farming trading system, the farming products, everything, all of the above. They affected all that. And in 1947, they went to Tanzania, what we now know as Tanzania, and cleared over 5 million acres of land, 5 million, to play around with some peanuts. They didn't know the weather. They didn't know the seasons. They didn't know the ground viability. They didn't check any of that stuff. Just played around and then wrote it off on their little tax sheet. Over $35 million worth of damages. We didn't forget about France either. You in there too. The French consistently encouraged and enforced the growth of cotton in its colonies. The farmers resisted the imposition of the cash crop, which brought small and unstable profits. The French ultimately created an office and systemically forced the farmers to participate. Before colonialism, trade happened mostly within different branches of the tree. Healthy economies are based on exchange, not extraction, and that was the case in the region before colonialism. Many African empires built complex trade networks amongst themselves, and in the process, they also exchanged ideas, culture, and technology. In India, they replaced spices and fruits with mainly cash crops like cotton, wheat, and rice. In Nigeria, they did the same thing. Fields of vegetables were replaced with maize and yam. And today, the same extraction pattern continues. African countries still trade their raw materials and food to European nations and in return import mostly manufactured goods. And this is the perfect conclusion. All of this is still interwoven into the trade structures and the seams of the contemporary global economy. And this is why it's so important to talk about African history.
What's up, y'all? Spiritual Melly. Today we're talking about why in America they condition us to eat 3 meals a day. Not 1, not 2, 3. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right, y'all. First and foremost, don't mind the gifts. I just got to have a representation of what I'm talking about. Okay, the first reason why they want you to eat 3 meals a day is because the more food that you consume, the less energy you have. You ever notice when you eat a big feast or you eat a big meal, you don't feel like doing nothing after? You just want to lay around and sleep, right? It's because your energy flow is literally being blocked off. And when you have all of that food in your stomach, your energy cannot flow to all your chakras, you know what I'm saying? And that's key when it comes to you having energy. And when your energy centers are being blocked off, bro, you're less connected with source, meaning that you can't channel information from the universe swiftly. Your intuition will be a little bit out of whack, and it will make it harder for you to scan your environment and for you to know what your true purpose is. Also, eating all this food, it forces your body to work 10 times as harder just to break down the food, especially when the food is filled with chemicals like red 40, yellow 5, all of that. Your body doesn't recognize it. So now this puts your body in distress or dis-ease, which causes cancers, diabetes, and other illnesses. Because a disease is just when your body is at dis-ease. That's all it is, bro, due to stress. And that leads to stress, anxiety, depression, self-doubt, self-hate, feeling unmotivated, lack of energy. Now this drink got me rolling. But all of these issues come from the gut, and they know this because your gut is literally like a brain. That's why when you're nervous or when you're upset about something or you have butterflies, when you like somebody, you get that gut feeling, right? Or when somebody's energy is a little, different, a little wacky, you get a gut feeling, right? Because your gut health plays a huge role in your intuition, with your ability to scan out your environment and to read energy. Also, there's certain chemicals that they put in the food that you can become addicted to over time. You're brought up from a kid and you keep eating these foods, bro, your body gets used to these chemicals. And then you will literally start to crave them. And do y'all want to know why y'all crave them? Because of these motherfuckers here. These the niggas that be making you crave them foods and them chemicals. Because you have to understand, when they process these foods and make these foods, there's microorganisms inside of these foods. And the more that you eat those foods with the chemicals in them, the more they grow and thrive. And when they thrive, they're going to start sending signals through your body saying, nigga, give me that food. I want that. Give me some chips and cookies. I'm hungry, nigga. Feed me. And then guess what you're going to do? Get your ass up. You're going to go to McDonald's. You're going to get you a Big Mac, McDouble, fish fillet, KFC, chicken tender. I don't think they got chicken tender, but you know what I mean. You don't have discipline. And the elites know this. So if you want to be healthy overall, bro, you have to change up your eating habit. And I know us people, we not perfect, but as long as you're making an effort, bro, that's all that matters. Be like Ray J. Actually, don't be like Ray J, bro. Only when it's coming to eating healthy. Other than that, don't be like this nigga. Cause y'all know what he did. Dirty ass. Spiritually.